Why, hello everybody, and welcome back to Fusion's Ramblings. Today we're going to be talking about a fun topic, cats versus dogs. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I know. Let the battle begin. So in this series, we talk about random items. And so that's what we're going to be doing today is we're talking about a random item and we are rambling on about it. And that item is going to be cats versus dogs. I know. Why in the world would I ever pick such a topic that is so, how do you put it? Um, but there's heavy defenders on both sides. So, me, I love both dogs and cats, or cats and dogs, whichever way you want to say it. But I prefer cats, and there's reasons for that. And so let's talk about those reasons and the differences, advantages, and disadvantages of both. Why not, right? So we'll start with cats. Cats are real simple, from a pet perspective. They don't require a lot of maintenance. They are very independent and they like to be independent. They prefer that. And you can have a cat in any sort of living situation, meaning if you live in a big house, you can have a cat. If you live in a small little itty bitty apartment, you can have a cat. And that's a huge advantage is because you don't need a lot of space for a cat. They need a good place to go to the bathroom that's clean, and they need to be fed and whatnot. And of course, they love to be petted and taken care of. And so you want to have all of that. But outside of that, from a pet perspective, um, you don't need anything else for a cat, which is really nice. And of course, the advantages of having a cat is, they're friendly. They love to be pet. Um, they like, you know, to to hang out with you as company. And of course, a cat it's very different experience. You have to remember that a cat owns you. You don't own a cat. um, and then from that standpoint, of course, you can cuddle with them and love them and play with them and teach them tricks if you want and all of that good stuff. And that's the cat experience. Now, on the other hand, there's the dog experience, and dogs are, as they say, man's best friend or women's best friend, either way. Um, and they're great to have. They're a lot of fun. You can do a lot of different activities with a dog that you might not be able to do readily with a cat, or you might not at least think about doing with a cat, such as going outdoors, going jogging, you name it, that kind of stuff. Um, and you can teach them tricks and have fun with them and all of that as well. Um, and that just makes it exciting to have a dog. However, a dog is a little bit different in that a dog needs space. I know a lot of people get dogs and they live in small apartments, and they go, "Oh, I got a small dog." But a dog loves to run around no matter what size it is. A dog likes to get out and run and use up a lot of energy and all kinds of stuff. Um, and so, from that perspective, I would have to say that a cat is better for city living. If you live out in the country, um, perfect. That's a perfect environment for a dog. If you have a large yard, perfect environment for a dog, because you can go out and you can play with the dog. They can run around. They can have fun. They're not stuck in a small little environment or cage or anything like that. And for both of these, uh, a cage should never be an option for a dog or a cat, right? Individuals that keep, you know, dogs or cats in cages, that is just wrong. I'm sorry. That is just wrong. And those people should not own pets. Um, That's my opinion. Not backed or endorsed by anyone else. But you know, there are other disadvantages to a dog, I would have to say. One is the bathroom situation. Yes, I know you can train a dog to poop and pee in a certain spot, like on a mat or, you know, in a tray. um, and then of course you can, you know, easily deal with it a little bit better that way. Whereas a cat, you know, it's a litter box, although some people train them to actually use the toilet. That's kind of weird. Um, Either way, you know, I mean, you have to take care of the pet's needs, and a cat is easier to take care of than a dog from the bathroom situation, by far. And that's the other thing about cats, is that even if you live out in the country, you have a yard or something like that, cats take care of their waste. They'll bury it, make sure it's covered. You're not going to walk outdoors in general and just step in a pile of cat poo, um, but you will step in a pile of dog poo because they'll just go anywhere. And they'll pee anywhere as well. And of course, you can train them not to, but they still do. You know, it's just nature. That's how they operate. Whereas cats, by nature, are very clean and will clean up after themselves. Talking about cleaning, we can talk about advantages and disadvantages there. Technically, you don't have to give a cat a bath. And I know some people do. I do myself. I give my cats a bath, you know, once a week, because we're indoors, and I just want to make sure that, you know, they stay clean and healthy and everything. But technically, cats can clean themselves, and they're very, very good at it. Uh, you know, they're built that way, where they groom themselves. Dogs, you know, they need water. You know, out in nature, they'll run around in the mud, run around in the rain, jump in the river, the lake, the pond, you name it, and that's how they keep themselves clean. And of course, dogs don't care if they're clean as much. They like to be dirty as well. You know, they like to roll out in that mud or the dead animal carcass, or things like that, to put the smell on them. And that's just by default the way they are in nature. And so that's, you know, another aspect of whether you're a cat owner or a dog owner or, you know, lover, um, you know, you have to be aware of is that there's differences. So advice is always that if you're going to have a dog, make sure the dog has space to run around, be itself. If you're going to have a cat, you're a lot more free to, you know, let the cat do its own thing. And the cat will be perfectly happy with that. Of course, you can provide it with toys, but a cat will always find entertainment for itself. And, you know, if you need to go on a trip and you leave the cat in the house with, you know, plenty of food and, you know, uh, good space to take care of its business, that cat's going to be fine for those few days or for that week even. Um, a dog, on the other hand, needs intervention. Someone's going to have to come every single day, check on the dog, walk the dog, take the dog out, feed the dog, you name it, right? So there's a difference in the maintenance of the animals that you have to be aware of. So both are great. You know, my preference is always going to be cats. I love dogs too. I've owned dogs in the past, and who knows, I'll probably own dogs again in the future. But right now I own 3 cats, and love them to death and have fun with them and enjoy them, and, you know, always look forward to having them around. So what's your preference? What do you like? Are you a cat person? Are you a dog person? Who knows? You know, maybe you'll comment down below and let us know what you have. But either way, no matter what, whether you love dogs, have cats, love cats, just take care of your pets. They deserve to be taken care of. You know, they are no longer in nature's, what do you want, a wild animal. No longer a wild animal that can take care of itself readily. You know, if the world ended today, a good 90% of all of the dogs and cats would die off, simply because they would not be able to fend for themselves. Cats would do better, both short term and long term, simply because they they aren't as dependent. Dogs will do great short term. Long term, though, they'll balance out. All those little dogs you have, like Chihuahuas and everything else, beagles, and they'll all die off. There's no way they'd survive out in nature. But cats, they'll still be there. And then only your bigger dogs that are able to survive and compete for dominance in the food market are going to survive. Not that I want the world to end, but that's what would happen. So what are some of the things or reasons that I like cats? Well, over dogs, I should say, even though I like dogs too. um, One is I like how, you can cuddle up with a cat, or actually the cat will cuddle up with you on your lap, or when you're laying down. It's a little bit harder for a dog depending on how big it is. Obviously, they can and they will. They like to be cuddled as well as you could say, or pet and groomed. But cats are more intimate from that perspective, right? They're a lot cleaner in the house. They're not as messy. Sure, they still get into stuff and they make a mess all the time. Pets are pets. But cats are better from that standpoint, anyways. And if you take care of them, they're gonna take care of you too. They show that appreciation. Dogs do the same thing. Don't get me wrong. If you take care of a dog and you spend time with the dog, it's going to do well. But then when you get situations where someone comes home and the dog has torn apart the couch or the pillow or whatever, there's a reason for that. There's a good reason for that. You're neglecting the dog in some way or form. You may not think so, but from a dog's perspective, maybe he's not getting out enough, maybe he's not getting enough attention, maybe it's too small of space and he's feeling confined. Who knows, right? And so that's what happens. They don't do it on purpose. They're not trying to be mean in general. They're just letting it be shown, and that's the way they do that. Cats, on the other hand, of course, if they want attention, they'll um, you know, scratch your leg, jump on you, you name it, but they're not going to necessarily tear apart your furniture. um, so that's why I think, cats are better for city living and inside houses and stuff. If I lived out in the country, I would definitely have both. I would get a dog. Probably be something like, a husky or something like that, or a shepherd dog or something like that. I like those kinds of dogs, where I can take them out, they can go on walks with me, all of that good stuff. I guess I could do that with cats too. I actually had a cat at one point. She liked to travel, and at the time I was working 100 miles away from my home a couple days a week. And so, she'd hop in the car with me and go with me to the workplace, and hang out. And, I'd stop along the way so that she could go to the bathroom when she needed to go to the bathroom. Because, 100 miles is, a 2-hour drive, right? And of course, it was great. She'd sleep on my lap while I was driving. I don't know if that was quite safe, or sometimes sleep up on the dash or in the back window or down on the floor, you name it. But she liked to travel. And then I had another cat when I was living out of the city in the country, you could say, that liked to follow me around everywhere. So if I went on a long hike up and over the hill and stuff, the cat would come with me, and just follow along and do its thing, exploring as I went, and then would come back. And so that's cool. Dogs obviously can do the same thing a lot easier because it's easier for them to travel both long distance and short distance, whether it's in the back of a pickup or running along beside you while you're riding your bike or things like that. So a lot of fun. Anyways, I think we are just about out of time today. So I want to thank you for joining me and hearing my rambling on about cats and dogs. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And we shall see you next time, or you shall hear from me next time on Fusion's Ramblings. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.